You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
And this match was a perfect example of them doing all the small things correctly so that when they did something big, like that huge bump, like that huge superplex, like the multiple rainmakers and stuff, that really made this match legendary.
It was great. I loved it. I loved the whole show. I don't have any complaints really about the show at all.
Hey, Stevie, I got a question for you.
Sure, Huck, go ahead.
Did you notice that Kenny Omega did not hit his finish not one time in this match?
All Kenny needed to do is hit the one-wing angel one time, and that would have been over. That was the story of the match going through. And everybody knew at the end, if he'd have hit that move, he'd have won. But he didn't hit the move.
Yeah, and Okada kept cutting him off every time I thought he was just about to get it.
Exactly. I think that this match, me, myself, my personal opinion, I think that even with some of the matches that we all didn't like or whatever, I think that it was probably the closest to a perfectly booked match that you will ever see in professional wrestling. And with all the fanfare and the buzz that not only the main event but this entire card got, I can't wait to see what the Brain Trust in Stamford, Connecticut is going to come up with at WrestleMania. Because they
won't be able to top this. They can't. There's no way.
I can't think of two. There's only one match I can think of that could probably top their main event at WrestleKingdom. There's only one match in WWE to probably top that. That's it.
And that would be?
Nakamura versus AJ Styles.
That's what I was going to say.
Nakamura versus Brock Lesnar.
No, hell no. No, there's no way possible. At first I was thinking maybe Samoa Joe versus Nakamura, but not even. It would have to be AJ Styles versus Nakamura. And they just look at these two guys and say, do your best. Surprise us.
And WWE micromanages so much, they would never do that.
Exactly.
Something else they would never do, I'd say AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, but yeah, I don't think they trust in their fans to be smart enough to know why that's an intriguing matchup.
They're not smart enough to know why that's an intriguing matchup.
True. Touché.
Now we get to go for the rest of the month and see all the spots that we love at WrestleKingdom on all the numerous indie shows that we go to.
Yes, everybody's going to try to imitate everything they saw this week. And speaking of which...
Floating cable spot from Omega.
No, please don't do that.
I will admit that there is one spot that I might steal. Only one. In the entire card that I might steal.
What, Yano's stealing all the belts and running out with them?
No, that was Kenny Omega's Rainmaker knee to the face.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was like, holy shit, I'm stealing that. Like, as a wrestler, I was like, well, that was stolen. Like, I don't know about everything else during the show, but that move right there, I am definitely going to use that within the next week. Within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to use that move.
Do you suppose that's where Okada got that giant bruise on his neck from, was that move?
That could be, because I've been trying to figure out where that bruise came from.
Yeah, he looked very much the worse for wear when you shared that photo.
I'm going to say it was either that one or the one when he was in the ropes. And, Kenny King does that huge bicycle knee in the rope when Elena gets the second rope.
Yeah, the V-trigger hitting it a couple of times.
Yeah, like, it was either that one or that Rainmaker knee. Like, that was so brutal. It was like, holy shit, I'm still in that one.
Well, I do have to say that before we get out of here, because I know Seth and Mike are waiting to do the Impact Implosion, I know that Jason wanted to touch on the Dash because he stayed up and watched that show. So why don't we briefly go over that? And Abby did as well.
Yeah, briefly go over it. Let's just run down the card match by match.
Before you go on, since Abby already interjected that she stayed up for it, I know she did. Huck, did you?
I watched the majority of it. I haven't seen the last two. I haven't seen the last match, but I've seen the majority of it.
All right. Well, with that said, Jason, please go ahead.
Yeah, we had Liger, Tiger Mask, and Hanare versus David Finlay, Ricochet, and Kyle O'Reilly. Pretty much your standard opening match there, but we got to see David give his mom a hug. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, and Fit Finlay showing up on New Japan Television.
Yeah, that too.
Can I say right now, I do not like David Finlay.
What?
I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of David Finlay whatsoever.
Oh my God.
Is this personal, or is this just based on his style?
A little of both.
Oh.
Because I've met him before he went to Japan over here in the States, and then I've seen what he's done since he's been in Japan. He reminds me of, you know, when you're playing like SmackDown or WWE 2K17, and you have that creator wrestler. Or actually, remember Raw vs. SmackDown back in the early 2000s?
Mm-hmm.
Remember Default Character A? That's David Finley to me. Like, he's bland. Like, I feel like you could pop any other wrestler on the roster in his spot and not miss him whatsoever. The best part is, the best thing he did the entire match was hug his mother. That was about it. And that's because we got to see Fit Finley on New Japan TV. That's the best thing he did all night for me.
Poor David.
The hell with him.
Oh, ruthless.
Moving on,
we had Takahashi and Yujiro Takahashi and Hangman Page versus Billy Gunn and Yoshitatsu, and honestly, with the 4 guys in the ring, I just tuned this one out mentally. I was just like, eh.
This was another match that, you know, Page saved. He was the highlight of the match.
Shenanigans. The highlight of this match was that fucking trainee, that big-ass trainee from New Japan that stared down Billy Gunn. Like, that was the highlight of that match. Like, who the hell is Bolo Young? For all the listeners who are, like, under the age of... For all the listeners under the age of, like, 30 or whatever, Bolo Young was, like, a huge Asian star, action star back in, like, the 90s. But I was looking, like, who the hell is this big-ass Bolo Young-looking guy? Like, shit, that's a trainee? Like,
that's one of the young lions.
He's a whole fucking pack. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, their young lions are getting a lot bigger and a lot older looking.
Yeah, like that guy, like, Jesus, like, you know, Billy Gunn is not a small guy. This dude, like, just made Billy Gunn look like a midget. Like, he was thick. That guy was thick in the chest, and I'm surprised they found a shirt that fit him.
Yeah, because their shirts are like 2 sizes smaller over there than they do here.
I'm stealing that Bolo Young. You're stealing the Rainmaker knee. I'm stealing Bolo Young for Kitamaru. That is a good name. What do we have next? We had Roppongi Vice, the Chaos team of Roppongi Vice teaming with Yoshihashi, taking on Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. And the big story with this one is Taco's getting the pin on the ROH champion.
Yes, and we will probably see on one of the Honor Rising shows that Tacos gets an ROH title shot against Cole.
Yeah, it's good that they're giving him a shot at the developmental title. Good for Yoshihashi.
For me, the standout in this match was the relationship between Roppongi Vice, between Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta, when they was doing that whole arguing back and forth outside, and then they hugged it out. Seeing those two, like you said earlier, like, you know, 2 guys that really don't get along, but they work so well together, was very entertaining. This was like a generic, I don't know, like, I expected a lot out of this match and really didn't get I really don't feel like we got our money's worth out of this match.
The thing with New Year's Dash is it's the fun, ridiculous, entertaining letdown after WrestleKingdom.
Exactly. It's time to unwind and just have some fun. It's not your uber serious match of the year card. It's just, we're going to have some fun. We didn't even know what the card was until they announced it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to see the NWO Japan, aka Team 2000 reunion continue in the next match with Scott Norton, Satoshi Kojima, Hiroshi Tenzan, Hiro Saito, and Cheeseburger taking on the Bullet Club team of Kenny Omega, the Guerrillas of Destiny, Bad Luck Fale, and Captain Boner. But the highlight of this match for me was when Norton picked up Cheeseburger and threw him over the ropes outside to the Bullet Club guys. That was amazing.
Then they threw him back in.
And they threw him right back in.
Yeah.
This is such a fun show.
Like, Cheeseburger was the star of that match, in my opinion. That spot with Scott. No, even before that, when in the entrances, when they were like NWO 2000 was taking pictures, and
Tiger
Cheeseburger tried to
pulls him away. He wouldn't let him
yes, and Tiger and Tori pulled him away. It's like, no, you don't belong in this picture. He's like, no, I'm a number 2. Look at my shirt. And they're like, no. Cheeseburger's such a great talent, and it's so awesome because he knows his role. And it's so great to see his interaction with a lot of the Japanese legends and vets and stuff. But that spot right there began before the match even started. The spot when, Scott Norton, looked at him. And I guess it was more of the look that Scott Norton gave him before he picked him up and threw him. Was really good.
Machine gun chops in the corner on Fale.
And then the machine gun chops. Where everybody stopped and looked at him like, is he still going? Definitely. That was the highlights of that match.
Yeah, I was just very, very grateful that Kenny Omega could move. My tweet was, oh my God, Kenny's alive.
He wasn't paralyzed from that match the night before.
Yeah, he didn't take many bumps and he didn't work too much, but he walked to the ring. He was very gingerly getting in and out, but, he was there and showed up, so.
And he didn't take his shirt off either, because I wanted to see the bruises on his back from that table spot. He did not take his shirt off at all.
He never does when he's in the colorful trunks. He always keeps the Elite shirt on.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about with that match, or should we move on to the next one?
We can move on to the next one.
Where we had Elgin and Kushida taking on Tetsuya Naito and Time Bomb Hiromu Takahashi.
Well, this was setting up Elgin and Naito, and of course, Naito has to give Elgin a hard time about breaking his face, which I just thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
Dude, hey, can you see? Because I broke your eye. Do you remember that?
And Dragon Lee damn near broke his own ankle in this match, even though he wasn't a participant.
That scared me half to death. He goes flying over that top rope, and then the first camera shot you see of him, he's laying on the ground holding his leg. I'm like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's nice to see Dragon Lee coming in, and it's nice to see another junior heavyweight in the singles division.
Are we still talking about say that again?
It's nice that, this was actually one of the matches that built up to something, because none of the rest of them did.
Yes. Go ahead.
It was just leading up to the Takahashi Dragon Lee match, which they'll probably do sometime during Fantastica Mania at the end of the month, and then Naito and Elgin.
Yeah, I definitely like the Naito and Elgin, where it took him so long, to get in the ring, and he just kept pointing to his eye like, hey, can you see me? Is your eye okay?
Remember,
and it was so, yeah, he's like, he wasn't even animated about it. He was just really nonchalant, like, hey, your eye, can you see me?
He's
don't forget,
tranquilo, very tranquilo.
And I actually like seeing Naito in something other than a suit. It was pretty cool to see him just walk out there with a hoodie on and a baseball cap. It's do. I don't really have to be here, but I'm here.
And Naito sells so well for Elgin. It's like Naito's, just getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really want to see them together again so soon, but after seeing that match this morning, I was like, okay, this will be good. So I have no issues with that. I thought it was a good match. It was fun. And it built up to something that's coming next.
It was good to see what developed from that, yeah. But yeah, next we had Shibata, Hanma, Makabe, Robinson, and Nagata taking on Okada, Yano, Ishii, Gato, and Ospreay. And with this one, it really wasn't the match that was the story.
Well, there were parts of the match that were the story.
Well,
you have
Juice
Shibata
Robinson
and
getting the
Ospreay.
pin was kind of like, what?
Yeah, you've got Shibata and Ospreay now, who are going to be fighting over the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship. You had Okada, who just came off, damn near getting killed, who bumped like a madman during this match. I don't even see how the fuck he was moving. And then Juice pinning Goto.
Rainbow Juice.
And then at the end, everything we'd been waiting for.
This is what I thought might happen at the Road to WrestleKingdom shows and didn't happen, but now that I see it, it kind of makes sense, as we were saying before we went on the air, that is more of a show to wrap up the year that was in 2016, where New Year's Dash is really the first show going forward for 2017.
And I called
Abby,
that they would be coming back.
For those who haven't seen it and are listening to this, Suzuki-gun hits the ring and just absolutely murders everybody in Chaos. And Roppongi Vice comes down to the ring and they get murdered too.
Yeah, poor Yano. They're going to kill him again. I told Killer Elite Squad this morning on Twitter, it's like, please don't hurt him. He's special. Lance Archer answered me, yeah, short bus special. Like, poor Yano. Yeah, but Misu and Okada, that should be fun.
That should be fun, and apparently he was not too pleased with what he was saying on the mic, with Misu saying, Okada, this is your fault, this is all on you.
Well, it kind of is. Stevie, we are going to buy you a silent, quiet keyboard.
Sorry.
But yeah, Misu's promising that, they're going to rule New Japan once again. They just beat the hell out of Chaos, and I'm kind of hoping they'll beat the hell out of everybody, especially Bullet Club, especially Bone Soldier.
Well, let's let him work through Chaos first, because, Killer Elite Squad's going to go for the titles, and Misu will probably get his shot somewhere down the line at Okada. Which
is another thing that I like, because the New Japan heavyweight tag team division is sorely lacking, so it is nice to get Killer Elite Squad back.
And then the main event, which I'm still puzzling over.
Why? The never keep it around your waist 6-man titles that hot shot every single time there's a match. I don't think there's been a successful defense of these titles.
Well, it wasn't like, Ricochet and Kojima and David could really defend them, because someone who shall not be named but goes by the moniker Creepy Yoga Boy got thrown in jail in Japan and still had the belt. So they couldn't really do anything with them.
Okay, but then Los Ingobernables won them the night before only to lose them.
To the most random, weird team I have ever seen in my whole life.
Stupid Tana and his stupid hair, and
Uncle Nakanishi
and his lack of hair, and
Taguchi.
Boy.
Of all of the teams you could put together, Tana, Nakanishi, and Taguchi has got to be the most random thing in the universe.
And to me, it just really cheapens the 6-man title and just shows how worthless it truly is.
Oh, they're kind of cheap anyway. I mean, I don't really know what the purpose of them is, but having Tana and crew win them, I don't see it.
Well, that's because, every company needs a trio title now that Chikara has made it famous.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a trio title.
Not everybody changes champions every day either.
Well, we have to look at it. They won't be defended again for another 2 months. I would have preferred Los Ingobernables, kept them a little bit longer, but...
Yeah, so would I. At least they're a faction in the team, and it makes sense of why they have the belts and why they work well as a cohesive unit, but...
I don't know.
You just don't like Tanahashi's hair.
I do not like him. I have major Tana hair envy, okay?
Couple
major Tana hair envy.
Couple haters.
Yes, I hate his hair. I am convinced it's a weave.
It's a weave?
It's a weave.
Bald is Mr. Clean.
Oh my God.
Yes, Because no man has natural hair that looks like that. No one. So Matt Jackson comes close, but that's about it.
Oh my.
But yes, that takes us into the next stuff for New Japan will be Fantastica Mania, which is their co-produced show with CMLL that's coming up at the end of the month. So.
Yay, we get to see Barbaro Cavernario, and if you tweet at Barbarnario, he will respond and like your tweets, even if you just
every
say
single time.
I had cornflakes for breakfast at Barbaro Cavernario. Like, thank you. Oh, but he, unfortunately, we'll see if he gets the rub with Chaos again now that Nakamura's gone, but that was kind of cool, him hanging out with them last time.
Yeah, that was fun last year.
And getting to see Ultimo Guerrero's Ultimo mullet.
Oh, God.
There is no
I
mullet
swear, if he and
superior to
Mystico
Ultimo
do that
Guerrero.
same crap this year with the dancing in the crowd, I'm turning it off.
With the hand in the tent pose and jumping up and down sideways.
Uh-huh.
And getting the crowd to do it. Oh, yeah, that's excitement right there.
No. But yes, I thoroughly enjoyed the last 48 hours of wrestling, and I'm kind of glad it's over.
Yeah, I won't have to wake up at 1 in the morning or 4 in the morning.
I feel like the last 48 hours of my life, was probably the most it's one of those crazy emotional roller coaster rides. And it's, as an actual wrestling fan, it's one of those emotional rides that you used to get from WrestleMania, that you really don't get anymore. Like, I think the last time WWE gave me a near heart attack was when the streak was broken. Other than that, like, very rarely do you have like and it's not just WWE, so I don't think I'm picking on Vince now. WWE, even ROH, TNA, very rarely do you have 48 hours of such great wrestling, that you just can't that you find yourself going back watching it again because you still can't believe that you just saw that.
Yeah, it was so good, and you were so invested in it, and that's what I miss with WWE and now NXT, which has kind of faltered off, in my opinion, and Ring of Honor and TNA. You just don't get emotionally invested.
I was going to say, WWE kind of has the potential for that when they do NXT takeover shows that have good cards, but then it kind of falls flat when they go into the big pay-per-views, WrestleMania. I'm looking in your direction.
Exactly. That's what.
It's just another night. It's just another episode of Raw, basically.
Exactly.
A
like
16-hour episode of Raw.
Wrestle Kingdom. What? It started at 3. My time, I want to say. It started at 3, and it didn't end till like almost 8 o'clock Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like 5 hours of wrestling, basically.
It almost started at 2.
And it's like, it didn't even seem like it was that long. If that was a regular indie show, there would be like 4 people left in the fucking crowd. It was like, the Gabe Sapolsky era ROH match when Gabe Sapolsky used to run like 5-hour ROH shows. But the matches were so good during Wrestle Kingdom that you didn't even notice that the main event almost went 60 freaking minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, It was such a great show. And I love the fact that, like, New Japan Wrestling, NJPW.org, world.org, whatever, ended up getting like 10,000 new subscribers, just for Wrestle Kingdom. 55% of the new subscribers were from America. Yes, like, so, now the wrestling world is waking up realizing that there's more to wrestling than just Vince McMahon and what he gives you and stuff. As a wrestler, I'm so excited to see that, people are actually, embracing other styles of wrestling. And that 10,000 people aren't including, the probably other 10,000 assholes who streamed it illegally or some shit.
Yeah, speaking of
assholes. That's not us, because we all paid the 999 yen.
Yes, exactly.
And of which probably about 30% were other indie wrestlers retweeting, hey, where can I get a free stream?
That's what Disco Inferno did today. Hey, can anybody give me a link to that Omega Okada match? I retweeted it and said, why don't you subscribe to New Japan World like the rest of us?
You want to know what's hilarious about it? That plays into total nonstop deletion because Glenn Gilberti was kind of the broke ass at that.
Wow, Gilberti's, he can't bum a $10 bill off of one of his strippers?
Not if you saw him at total nonstop deletion, he couldn't.
Wow.
It's like, I love New Japan. Oh, it's great. Somebody give me a link to a free stream. Go support the damn company if you love it so much.
Well,
exactly. I hate the fact that people pay, not $10 a month for Vince McMahon, but you won't do the same, for New Japan. And most of these guys, or especially the ROH guys, are guys that you're going to see in the States, and you're probably going to end up working with. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these indie wrestlers are trying to go to Japan, whether it's at Pro Wrestling Noah or New Japan or whatever. You want to go to Japan, but you don't want to support the product. And don't think that, you know, they don't have people who are not watching, you know, social media, seeing which one of you cheap assholes, speaking indie wrestlers are trying to get something for free as usual, you bunch of carnies.
Follow my example, people. Pay for New Japan World, but pirate WWE, and when you pirate WWE, do it in Spanish, because the English language broadcast sucks.
Don't pirate anything, just support these companies and pay for their product.
If you like the product, let me put it this way. If you tried it for free and you like the product, pay for it the next time.
Yes. There are companies out there that have incredible streaming services, RevPro, Progress, ICW, DDT is fixing to start one, Stardom World. You know,
High Spots
support these
Network.
people.
High Spots Network.
High Spots, yes.
Don't say it like that, Jesus.
But Flow Slam with the other indies. I'm just saying, everybody has got streaming services now, and
except Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, the one company I want to have a stream that doesn't.
Well, they do their business by word of mouth and DVDs, which they seem to be doing damn good at.
Oh,
so.
I know. It's not like they're hurting, but damn, they'd make my life a joy if they did.
I would tell y'all on air why they can do that, but I'll wait till we go off the air to let y'all hear the secret.
All right.
All right.
That's fine.
So, yeah.
Speaking of which, I imagine we probably got to get off the air here pretty soon, so are we calling Jordan before it's over?
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's get him on.
Jordan Garber is our bone soldier.
No.
Hello?
Good evening, Jordan. It's time for Jordan's Corner on AngryMarks.com. Sorry we kept you waiting. We're running a little long.
Well, I know. It's okay. You guys had a great show on tonight. I'm actually just out hanging out with friends. I'm actually at the McDonald's drive-thru. So live from the McDonald's drive-thru, Jordan Garber is here. First show of 2017.
Okay, that's no better way to introduce you to this year's AMP, the first AMP for Jordan Garber, than live from the drive-thru. It's always something with you. That is the perfect way to kick off
Live
the new
from
year.
the drive-thru.
How was your New Year's, by the way? I hope you didn't imbibe too much. I know sometimes you get a little crazy. I hope you kept it sane.
Don't worry. This New Year, I didn't have 27 shots. I may have had 10, but I didn't have more than that. It was a pretty good New Year's celebration.
Yeah, for you, that's actually cutting back quite a bit, so I commend you on that. So kudos for keeping it safe. Now, what's going on in the world of wrestling for you? What do you have to report for us this week?
Well, you know what? There's a lot going on. Unfortunately, the last Jordan Garber now wasn't supposed to be, we had technical difficulties due to Blog Talk Radio. You know how they are sometimes. So we weren't able to complete the taping. Next week, though, it does resume. Next Tuesday, there's going to be another Jordan Garber now. And pretty much stay up to date on my Twitter for the latest wrestling news and everything in regards to that. I haven't caught much of the product this past week. Can you guys give me a recap of what happened?
You're going to have to listen to the entire show to get that recap, because we just spent the last 2 hours talking about New Japan and everything they did this week.
Oh, right on. Well, I can't wait to listen to it. You know, New Japan Pro Wrestling, a lot of big things are in store for it this year, and I can't wait to see what all of it is, you know. Who's like, in a nutshell, what match are you guys looking forward to the most? Or what match do you want to see in 2017? That's my question, because New Japan Pro Wrestling, you guys just look at the product for itself. So, predictions?
What match would I like to see the most? I'll think about that one for a minute. I'll go to Jason. What match in New Japan do you want to see the most?
Boy, that is a tough one. I would like to see a rematch, actually, and maybe this will take place at Dominion would be a great time for it. A rematch with Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight title.
That's a pretty good idea. Abby, what about you?
Minoru Suzuki versus Shibata.
Ooh, beautiful violence.
Man, that ain't beautiful violence. That is like epic violence.
I'm going to go with, this is completely out of left field, but this is something I think could be really great. Kenny Omega and Hiroki Goto for the Never Openweight title.
Not bad.
Mm-hmm. Huck, what about you?
I'm sitting here thinking, and I think can I have two?
You can have two.
Okay, I want to see Cheeseburger versus Jushin Liger.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I would like to see Shibata versus Okada.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be good as well.
I think that Dave Meltzer might end up giving another 6-star match if them two meet up this year.
That's very possible.
That's the only match I can think of that could probably top Omega and Okada this year.
Yes, Jordan, that's our recommendation.
See Misu and Yano again, just to see Yano tie him to the guardrail.
Yeah. Jordan, my recommendation...
I don't think Misu has ever beat Yano.
Perhaps not, but even if he does, Yano will steal everything he has.
This is true.
All right. So, Jordan, my recommendation to you right now is, along with all those other dream matches that we want to see, go out of your way to see the second half of WrestleKingdom 11, and please pay for the stream. Even if you only subscribe for 1 month, pay for it, because you will get your money's worth out of the second half of that card. It was fantastic.
Absolutely. I'm putting it on my to-do list right after this show. And to stay up to date on Jordan Garber, you can follow me on Twitter at Jordan J. Garber. Thank you guys so much for having me on tonight. I can't wait to be on next week.
Always a pleasure, Jordan, and follow him at Jordan J. Garber on all forms of social media, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, he's got it, even Snapchat.
Excellent. You guys have yourselves a great night.
All right, we'll see you next week, Jordan. That's Jordan's Corner right here on Thursday Night AMP. Hey, Huck, do you Snapchat?
No, I do not Snapchat. I have a funny story about that if y'all want to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So funny story is, you'll Snapchat, you send snaps back and forth to your friends. And I have a female friend of mine, who mistakenly sent me a Snapchat that she meant to send to a male suitor.
Oh, did this get you in trouble with your wife? Did you get in hot water?
Oh, yes, because, my wife was sitting right next to me, and this is a female friend I've known for over a decade. She's kind of like a sister to me, my wife knows or whatever. And so I'm like, oh, such and such sent me a snap. Let's see what it is. And I open it up, because usually it's something goofy, or it's like, like food or something. And I open it up, and there's like, the full Monty. And I'm like, oh shit. And my wife is like, why is she sending you these pictures? I'm like, I don't know. But of course, if you're married, you understand that there's never a right answer. Even if you don't know and you're completely innocent, you're still guilty when it comes to women. So to alleviate all of it, I just took away Snapchat, period. I was just like, nope, no Snapchat from here on out.
Well, that was probably the smart thing to do, and I hope you told her that you got in some serious trouble for her missent message.
Yeah. I immediately said, I was like, I don't think that snap was meant for me. And of course she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, too late. Like, I feel like our friendship has elevated a level.
That's unfortunate, but yeah, Snap does sometimes lend itself to that, because a lot of people use the fact that it's a temporary and not a permanent picture, that they can send pictures that they wouldn't want to be on Twitter or Instagram and hope that they'll be deleted. But I know people save snaps. They don't go away just because you think they do.
Exactly. So, if you're married, take it from me. If you're married, just don't do Snapchat. It's not worth it.
Right on.
Stay away from the snapper.
All right. Well, let's get in some cheap plugs before we get out of the show and get on to Impact Implosion. Huck, what do you want to promote besides the Wrestling Nerdcast?
Oh, besides letting all of your listeners know that they can listen to me, the bearded wonder Zane Paisley, and the greatest producer in podcast history, Killer Kev, every Tuesday night. We're recording the show, Wrestling Nerdcast, every Tuesday night, but they can catch it, on the Angry Marks podcast, usually the next day. Follow me on Twitter at WA Huckabee. Follow me on Facebook. I don't have like a wrestling Facebook and a personal Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, what you see is what you get. I've had too many concussions to remember that many passwords. The hell with that. Support local indie wrestling. Also, like most wrestlers and stuff, I have brand new t-shirt designs coming out. I have the Incredible Hulk Cartoon Network inspired t-shirt that people can order right now. Coming out Monday, I have another t-shirt design coming out that I think is going to be more adultish. But, you know, right now, people want to you can pre-order them right now at a discount. Once the pre-order is done, it'll be regular price. All of your fans can either email me at wahuckabee@gmail.com, direct message me on Twitter, or send me a message on Facebook. Order the t-shirts. I'm also doing something special that most wrestlers don't do. I'm giving a discount for bulk orders. So if you order 5 or more t-shirts, then I will give you 1 t-shirt for free. So buy 5 t-shirts, get the 6th one for free.
Damn, that's a hell of a deal. And you know what? I gotta say one more thing, Hug, before I let everybody else get their plugs in. You made note several times throughout this show that is the Incredible Hulk. That's your t-shirts, that's your gimmick, that's everything right now. But yet, Zane Paisley is still the bearded wonder. Shouldn't he update his gimmick if you updated yours?
I call Zane the Das Wunderbeard. I call him Das Wunderbeard, but you know, he likes to be the bearded wonder. And get you some Zubaz. Follow Zane, his group Beards and Zubaz. Zane is really, passionate about both of those things.
And speaking of other things he could update, he could also update the Twitter because it's no longer the Undisputed Wrestling Show, but he's still Undisputed Zane on Twitter.
He's old. What's that thing? He's old.
He's not that old. He's not much older than you or I. Come on now.
Well, I'm not old. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a strapping young, I'm a strapping young 23.
Okay then. Yeah, and you've got too many concussions. You probably had 23 concussions.
Exactly.
All right, let's get some more plugs. Jason, what do you have for us this week?
I'll do an official plug. The whole show has been a plug for NJPWWorld.com, but this is the official best $999 yen you can spend a month plug for NJPWWorld.com. Definitely going to give a shout out and a plug to them. Plug myself on Twitter. I'm at Great Sudoku. You can check out my cooking blog at veggiebending.wordpress.com. Yeah, that's all I have for this week.
I think the last time I checked my credit card statement, it was like $8.43. And damn, I would have paid twice that for WrestleKingdom. That's how good it was. Abby, what do you have to plug?
Top Rope Press, you can find me there. I will plug Angry Marks, which I still have to write that editorial thing for. I am on Twitter at Abby A. And let's see. I think that's all the plugs I have for this week.
All right. Well, I will give a plug that Huck gave. I will say Kev is the best producer in the business, so make sure you give him some support. Follow him at CamNet and thank him for everything that he does to make the Angry Marks Podcast Network a success, including tonight's show, bringing on our special guest, the incredible Huck, not the Morning Star. We're updating the gimmick here on the show. I will no longer refer to him as the Morning Star. So everybody follow W.A. Huckabee, follow Abby A., follow Great Sudoku, follow me at Angry Marks, and thank you for listening. This is a wrap, and somebody's keyboard is as loud as mine. Good night, everybody.